Hello, hello. How's it going? Happy Tuesday. We got another stream. Um, we left off last time trying to understand what was happening with the store plugin and our system tray app. And the system tray app is effectively like a to-do app that sits in the system tray. And we were storing state using the store plugin. It wasn't deleting or refreshing in a way that made sense. I think we kind of got, at least in some ways, to the heart of it. The one addendum to that, though, was it seemed like that state that kept coming back was actually saved in the app data folder. And I think from when I did the release build. So it's maybe there was some weird dev interaction with the dev version versus the build version. I'm not quite sure, but we'll keep an eye on it. Either way, I think I've at least figured out enough where we can set to rest why that refresh kept bringing that old content back, and why it wasn't updating it after we would make changes and then refresh or restart. So that's good at least. Now the next step was in our to-do app, we are expecting it to live in the system tray. So via a shortcut or clicking on an icon, we want to be able to bring it back up into focus. Positioning that in a way when you bring it in focus cross OS isn't the easiest, so we were using the system tray plugin. Originally, we had done our own math. It worked fine, but we pulled in the system tray, or excuse me, we pulled in the positioner plugin, which does some of the math for us, and that works. Except I think as far as options go, we potentially want like a write alert. So we'll see what we can do with that, and we're also starting the app with it with the window hidden, which seems to muck with that initial state. So we're gonna dig into that a little bit and see if we can, if it makes sense to deal with it in user space, and if not, we might try to pull in and add an API locally that potentially we could PR up. Um, we'll kind of see how it goes. I don't think we're gonna be. Ideally, I don't want this to be a super long stream, partly because I already started late, and in at least in the U.S. And we had a holiday, so all of my meetings got moved to today. So that always messes up my schedule here. So we'll see what we can do. We'll probably shoot for like an hour or something like that, and see what we can get knocked out here. So we do actually have a couple changes in play here. I think I'm going to just spin up a quick branch and start pushing stuff up. So this would be, we'll call it fix Tauri API interactions. It's going to end up being pretty general. So I think this first adjustment is a what did we do with that? An API update. Update to new window API. Okay. And then last week we worked on this and we moved some things around. I think I'm probably just going to chunk it all up into we don't have this type in here anymore. We can get rid of those. I think I'm going to end up just chunking this all into a single commit here. So we'll just say um, bump to RC, and the other bits that we were working on were item. We'll say improve item ID. That'll work. All right. So what do we want to do with the system tray icon and it's showing up? So there was sort of two bits that we had noted last time. I'm going to close a bunch of these. We have this little snippet here, and the intent for this is that on all events of the tray icon, we want to probably just want to make that go away, honestly. I just noticed YouTube is saying that my audio stream's current bitrate is lower than recommended. Pretty sure that's a bug, an ongoing bug that I've been like randomly hitting. Let me know if you're having trouble with the audios. If hopefully it's not an issue, but we may need to deal with that. Okay, so now we can put in an item, refresh. That all seems to work how we were expecting it to. I'm going to. So this should work now. If we, oh, it's not quite working. It actually fails. So this is actually a good indication of the error that we were having. Tray position not set. So it's at least not like failing now. It would crash hard before. So what we're gonna do first, let's just do a bump. I know there was potentially a couple new little things that have come out since we last did an upgrade, I believe. And I'm gonna just take off all the dots in my cargo, which should give me the latest RC. And that's really all that I'm looking for, I think. Custom protocol, RC. We don't even, I mean, we're not intending to support Android and iOS with this, so I could just move this out. I think I'm actually going to do that. All right, that appears sufficiently fine. And we're going to do a cargo upgrade or update. I'm going to end up doing both because I never remember. I think it's update actually. And then we're going to do the same in our package JSON. When that's done, we'll do we're using npm for this, so we'll do like npm outdated, and that should give us an indication on which of these have updated, and I guess this one. And we can't remove the .rc. npm doesn't support that, so we'll have to deal with it. Now, while that's doing its thing, we can kind of take a peek at this and see if there's any. I don't think any specific things have been updated with this, but what this is doing is it's for every event on the tray at this specific icon, it's updating. It's basically like passing it on to this function, which then is setting state and using in some spots it's using that state that it sets to then determine where to render this thing, and that's where we're getting this error: tray position not set. So we actually have this turned off right now, so it's in no way setting the state, and it's throwing errors. That makes sense. If we turn this on though, we get two separate icons. So that's sort of the first thing we want to deal with. We don't actually want it to create a new one. But the problem is we might. I guess if this is creating the icon, we part of this is the intent for this tray is that we are, let's see, const action, return menu. Oh, okay. It's off. I was like, wait a minute. I thought we had to disrupt in a function. Part of the intent with this is that we want to control it in JavaScript. Okay. Did it? Don't know that it actually updated anything. It looks like we have we have all the latest stuff ready. So do npm outdated. And oh, wait, what? Interesting. That's very interesting. Okay, so current and wanted. Current and wanted. This is somewhat confusing because current and wanted are, I mean, it must be doing something funny with the latest. Okay, so I think we're probably on the latest. I don't think we need to do anything as far as public stuff. So we want to see what we can do with this tray icon builder, because if we start now npm run Tauri dev, we will get two icons. We don't have any guide on it. I think all of our notes or docs on this are otherwise in the tray, I believe. Tray interfaces, tray icon. So we have some stuff in here, and we're using all of those in the interfaces. I think we're gonna have to look at the positioner plugin instead. Actually, there is a separate section for that though. See, okay, so we have two icons, and this one doesn't seem to react to any input. That is the one that's created by that other runtime thing. Actually, this one doesn't now either. Did we turn that off? I didn't think we turned that off. Well, let's close that for the moment. Okay, so we've got this. TBD on what that's actually doing. And in here we should have, yeah, we've got the click, the current window, focused. So we should be doing these bits. And we are using the plugin position. You can just chuck in a quick log the click event. That has changed in the past, and we have had to double check up into that. Um, yeah, this is all in JavaScript. We're not gonna. We need to look at the crate version of it. Okay, if we look at the inspect and in here, refresh, click. Okay, so we are getting. Oh, now the events work. Okay. Interesting. the this though, we don't want a separate icon, so we need to somehow merge these two pieces of work together, or to otherwise like use that existing tray. And we do have some logic in here. We were running into an issue where, so this is doing existing wait tray icon get by ID main. And the problem is every time we would get the hot reloading refresh. Every time we got the hot reloading refresh, it was actually like remounting the whole index.html, in which case our tray icon would then call the new again. We would continue to get more and more, despite using the same. Well, like our ID is hard coded. So basically, the only way I found to get around that at the moment was to just kill it if we had one existing already. Now the question is, here we're probably gonna have to look at the tray icon loader there and see if we can merge these two together. Because, and actually, while I'm doing that, I want to see if we can turn the visibility off here, because we wanted to start hidden. But the problem is that also seemed to mess up the positioning and that position state. We can leave it open for right now. So we're gonna look at the Tauri plugins workspace. And the positioner plugin. So there's not kitties. Look at my green screen. There's not too much code in here. So like we could potentially dig into this a little bit. There is in the guest.js. Nope. I thought it was in the guest.js. Is it possible to customize the header for an Android app? Ooh. That's one that I don't know offhand. Yeah, to be honest, I don't know offhand. I know with PWAs, that's in the manifest, but I don't suspect that that would be like it wouldn't make sense to use that same API. At least I'm presuming it wouldn't make sense to use that same API because that's like PWA functionality is different than uh, windowed app type functionality. Should we digress real quick? See if we can. Where would we have? I guess I would probably look in the configuration. It's not going to be tray. Window effect is all desktop. Um, Drag, focus, full screen, hidden title. It's Mac. There's a theme, and it looks like it's Windows and Mac only. I want to say no. Windows bundler config. I want to say no. But that's also possibly something coming down the line in the BN Tau, maybe. Hmm. How? Come on, come say hi. I'm not seeing anything that's jumping out at me. I have done a lot less of the playing around with Android, so I very much would not know offhand either. Most of my most of the stuff that I've done has been on stream, to be honest. Say hi. You're gonna interrupt us. Come say hi. All right. Most of the most of the stuff that I've done with Tauri has been on stream, or at least a huge chunk of it, and the bulk of it. I think I've done like 2 or 3 streams on Android or mobile development. So we will eventually get to more of that on the stream, but I do not. I want to say no, and I wouldn't know offhand anyways. Sorry, I couldn't tell more. Okay. Rust docs. Or do we even need to look at Rust docs? Whoop. Actually, I want to stay in here. API. Is there a lib? Okay. This is where all the math is done. So they set a state, window size, screen size, position, state. That state is the piece that is potentially set or not set depending on the state of the tray. Maybe it's possible to change it manually. Yeah, that would make sense. That would be a good place to look, I think. Um, we went back and forth a bunch on what is committed. So as long as that's code that you're actually committing to get, that probably would be fine to change there. Yeah, it's honestly been like 6 months, I think, since I touched it, maybe more. I need to get back into it, but we're like totally down the rabbit hole of system traps, which very much are not an Android thing, which is why we haven't gotten into any mobile as of late. Okay, so the pieces that we want, there's the if we've turned on feature tray icon, then we get uh, these additional options. And you can see here we've got panics just straight up hard coded in there, which if some of these bits aren't set, then it panics. And we're running in a situation where some of those weren't set. So there's sort of two pieces to this. Potentially we can modify this and give us a couple additional options. Secondarily, we could, or we may want to look at how this state is being calculated. Okay. So if we, right now we're just rendering it right in the middle, which works fine. I do want to deal with this icon though. And if we look at the docs here, it says do that bit. This is all around moving the window. And that's specifically for, like, we need to be able to tie that together. So let's look at the tray icon builder, and that would be Rust docs. And we can go here, and I'm pretty certain it's pulled up into this builder, try build. Maybe not. We might need to drop down into looking at Rye. Tray icon builder, Rye event loop message. Okay, it's under tray maybe. Why won't we see it? Tray icon event. Sure, let's check it out. Builder. So we have new, we have with creates a new tray icon builder with a specified ID. That might be something to go with. If we can keep the same ID, it might be a little bit more. Pet this builder recreate, adds a new. I mean, ideally, I just want to hook into the existing one. Because these are all creating. Create, set. Like once we have those handles, you can set pieces. And that's kind of been the hard part too, is the a handful of these APIs are very much built around the fact that it's controlling, it's the thing controlling the like initialization. And when we start working with the JavaScript API, every time we like try to grab some sort of or establish a handle, we're also generating a new thing. We're generating the thing and creating the handle. Which okay, so there's an app tray by ID. Okay. And what would ID be? Can we just call it main? Oh. So does that have an on? Get into map subscriber in current span. So it had an option. Okay, we get some sets. Is there a on? Okay, this might work. Let's comment out this and give this a shot right here. So this should give us, with setup, we have handled the app, tray icon. So we are hard coding it in here as main. Also, and we're doing the same thing. Like if we have an icon by ID main, then good to go. We might not need to do the build. Still doing stuff. Come on. Okay, that looks good now. Because we're just grabbing a handle to it, a reference. So I don't think we actually need to build it because building is more intended for when we're doing like a new, in which case that's handled in the JavaScript side of things. Ooh, okay. Okay, so we got our unwrap is undone. Road Rush, good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Um, was it Red or Rude? Rude Rush? Rude Rush, I think it was. So the Rust setup is running first. This would be if it doesn't find a tray. And we don't have any other options here just to grab a handle to it, right? Title, tempter, menu, icon. Because that's I guess we do a get by ID here. So perhaps if we say we are just always going to expect this to create the tray. And I think I can set the ID in here. Otherwise, it'll default to main. There's new take create with ID. There's a with ID. With ID main. Second time, great, sweet. At least I remembered to correct myself. Okay, so if we're relying on the setup code here to create the icon, or at least the builder, this will establish it, and we can then hook into the events there. In which case, we always presume that's going to be established already by the time we hit the JavaScript code. So we can say our tray, we're going to do this. This gets a little bit awkward though. Can I set actions? Oh, that was the other reason we were doing this too. This might end up giving us issues as well because we wanted to set actions and we don't have the ability to set an action here. So set icon, menu, tempter, title. Okay. We might be able to be cheeky with this and just recreate it here. Let this create it with the ID of main, and start handling events. If we then just recreate it, is it going to continue to get events? That's the question. This will handle cases in dev with hot reloading and with the initial icon set by the Rust based Tauri builder setup function. Yep. So that's going to be an issue. That is going to be an issue. You wanted to know how to disable the context menu on the Rust side. The context menu would be like when you right click. Also, thanks for stopping by, Luciano. Yeah, okay. Error removing system tray icon. That is because we're trying to remove it here because it exists already. And we can't do that. All right. If we skip, here, let's do it this way. This will be a little cleaner if I put in one big block. Let's just kill it and restart just to be certain. Let's get a clean start and we'll look at that right click. Nicola, good to see you. Good to see you. Okay, so we got our two icons as expected. And we are getting that trade position not set. That was the original reason that we switched this visible to true. Just because on that first startup, it doesn't seem to like that positioner plugin doesn't seem to like that. Okay, so context menu, you're talking about this here, right? Did the 3D text work? I don't think it did. Did I never? I need to get back to find the time to fix that. Too many things. Oh, it did. It did. Sweet. um. Cool. 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 So we had to set visible to true because otherwise we were having that issue with the trade position not set. And that's a pain. How did I disable it? We didn't actually talk about it. So part of it is in when you do a build, some of this won't actually be there. Like you won't have the dev tools, so that inspect won't be there. So if that's the thing that you're worried about, then that you potentially don't need to do more. I actually we can take a slight digression because I do also want to deal with that. Those are probably the next things on the list because both the autocomplete here and this menu, I don't have any interest in keeping those around. Much the same as it seems you are. Hi, Kitty. Um, I don't know how to turn it off offhand though, so let's do some looking here. It shows up by default in the production build as well. There's no inspect. There's a screenshot and some other default web view stuff. Yep. Yeah. Is there a way that I don't know that there's anything in the configuration? Do you know offhand, Nicola? I don't think there's anything in the configuration that you can use to turn it off. Theme target, not sure. Okay. I've always wanted to deal with it, but just never got around to dealing with it. But we're like right on the cusp of. I don't want that autocomplete. I'm guessing the autocomplete is going to be turned off in much the same way. Turn off autocomplete. I know I've seen that question come up before. I'm surprised we don't have any issue for it though. Context menu. You can override it. I'm not seeing anything that's jumping out at me. Do we have anything? Auto start, deep link dialog. Windows state is the actual like window. I think that's a Windows only thing. You think you can disable it client side with JavaScript? I thought we could do that, but did we try it in this one? Where is my form? Where did I put it? Tabs, tab list, action group, to-do list. Text field, autocomplete. Now, it could very well be an issue with this. On the client side, it's easy. Add document on add event listener context menu. But that just, yeah, that and does that turn it off, or does that actually um, does that prevent interactions, or does it actually like prevent it from opening too? Honestly, for my use cases, I would be okay with dumping that in the JavaScript side of things. But I do understand that interest in show menu. I think we can get a handle to the web view here. Web view windows. Get web view window. Label. I'm not sure if this will work. Actually, what is this? Do a let. I don't actually know what this is. What is it? Come on, Rust Analyzer. So that actually does work. A no method found for mutable reference. Okay. Fetch all managed web view windows. Okay, sure. Why is my like Rust Analyzer just going really slow? No method named. Web view windows. Oh, but not. App handle. Because there's a way to like here maybe we could just look at Rust at the Rust docs. Because if we get a handle to the web view, if it's implemented, I'd assume it would be there. Web view and on web view event. I mean, you could maybe do it here. Oh, with web view and the window on message, open DevTools. I am get yeah. So this is what we were looking before. There's a fetch all managed web view windows, um, and I'm wondering if we could do on web view event. What are the? Does it have any list of events here? Non-exhaustive. Drag and drop. Okay, so we can get events. We can get events from here. We could maybe on web view event. Let's search for that. My guess, definitely don't quote me on this, but my guess would be on web view event we could potentially do this. And that would be a nice snippet to have too. With web view on web view event. I don't think you'd actually need like a whole closure and everything to it. And I'm get web view. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to use the Tauri manager. Let's try it real quick. Use Tauri manager. I got the example here that'll make it easy to give it a shot real quick here. So if we do this, that should give us a app get web view. There's a method get web view window. Oh, is our docs out of date right there? Tauri manager setup app. App. That might actually be out of date. Okay, so if we do get, do we have any web view? Get web view window, web view windows with current subscriber. Okay. All right, that's looking better. Unwrap that. So this is a web view window. And if we look at this, we have available monitors, close DevTools, get web view window. We don't actually care about the window. We care about the web view itself. So now, can we just like log out all the web view events? Listen, set on menu event. On menu event. Let's just log some stuff out here and see what we get. I don't really. Can we do a or no? Do we do a print line? You just scan the whole Tauri code base. There's no disable, only show. Really? The only show the context menu? I gotta remember what the debug macro is. Event. Can I find macro debug in the scope? What is that again? Rust debug macro. I can never remember this. I don't use it enough to um like I don't get into Rust enough to like remember all this stuff offhand, which we are working on fixing. That's for certain. Oh, okay, it's cool with that. Try adding a return type. So we're getting a menu event on menu event. Hmm. Do we just need an okay at the end of it? Okay. Are you cool with that now? Because they're doing a menu item, web view window builder, new web view window. Oh, never mind. That whole thing is okayed. Move window event if. Okay, so it is expecting. No. Registers a global menu event listener. Okay, so we need to do something with that. So event. And we have a window. Yeah, I need to. Keyboard is just like rotated enough. That is annoying. There's a web view window remove menu. Get web view window, unwrap. So like you're thinking a remove menu. What does it actually remove? It's not supported on Mac. If you need to remove it, use app handle remove menu instead. So what does that look like at least? Yeah, let's run it. On menu event. Yeah, so we were just looking at on menu event. Then we need to register an event handler, which starts to get into things that would be very nice to copy and paste. um, my Rust isn't quite sufficient enough to. Yeah, so that didn't seem to do anything there. Um, I think it's the menu, like the window decorations potentially. Like it's not with the menu event loop message. Yeah, this rye. I'm not certain if it's the like window decorations or if it's actually like the context menu. Um, can we? To help creating context menu. So this would be to specifically pop one open. Okay, you need to go away. Hmm. That I'm thinking it's probably in that area. I think we're looking at something like here we'll put a note for future us. Try to handle hiding the context menu from Rust. Oh hi. Um, and in this case, we're doing it on a specific web view window. Unwrap, remove menu. It also said that there's a here we'll make a note or there's a on menu event, but there's also the app dot. All right, so you said that there's a remove menu and a hide menu. There's a remove menu, remove tray. Remove the app wide menu and return it. If a window was not created with an explicit menu or header one set. Hmm. Expected found tray icon builder. What? Okay. Weird. Yeah, not sure if tray menu or context menu. I think that's probably the thing that I'm getting hung up on all this too is it's um a bunch of these used to be combined because it was one thing. A window had a web view, and then we split it up to where a window could have multiple web views, and then the naming of the APIs got funky. And now that we're doing more with the tray icons and the trays and then the menus, some of it is just like operating system issues too. Like they're not made clear in operating systems and those docs. So, and you end up naming it similar to the thing that you're like adding the bindings to. It doesn't make it easy downstream unless there is docs, which is part of hopefully what we can turn up out of this. All right, let's let that build. Yeah, sure, fine. Not using Tauri Manager anymore. Okay. Yeah, and like this could very well be just it's always turned on in dev. So that's the other bit. Like if we grab that snippet, let's see, document and document add event listener. That is going to that is very much just going to be something that you hard code into the actual web view, right? So if we would go with, um, where should I put it? Main TSX, probably fine there. That would also work, but that it handles both situations, but that doesn't have any switches for dev versus not. This potentially could, and I just don't know about it. Remove the app wide menu and return it. So I'm gonna take that off for right now because we do actually want it on because I want to be able to inspect stuff when I'm not in dev. Here we're gonna have to kill this again because I want to hover over this. Remove the app wide menu and return it. If a window was not created with an explicit menu or had one set explicitly, this will remove the menu from it. And this is in. Hmm, this feels like a different menu. This feels like the tray menu. If I would have to guess that, I think that's the tray menu. Which then also kind of comes back into this. We're making a tray icon. So, like in some ways, I wonder if this is overlap with um, like if we look at this is a menu Rye event loop message menu, a root menu that can be added to a window on Windows and used as the app global menu on macOS. Hmm, type that is either a menu bar on the window on Windows in Linux or as a global menu. Yeah, so I think this menu is the like the file menu, different from the context menu that we care about. Um, and was there any? So I think actually, if we look at the web view window on menu event, I bet you it's the same thing. If you're clicking the icons or items in the menu, I don't think that's actually the context menu. So web view window, I don't think is the thing that we care about. We don't on menu event. Yeah, I don't think any of these are actually the right ones either. I think that's actually the menu. Is there a yeah? Because all these are grabbing the window. We want the actual web views. Web view windows, Rye plugin. Here, let's take a peek at Rye real quick. If uh, speaking of context menus, uh, context menu doesn't work. Okay. Um, hmm. This is like all GTK specific stuff. So I know the context menu could be disabled with the context menu signal. And like this is the other issue is the if we turn it off with that JavaScript snippet, what else is not going to be passed along? This alone would prevent JavaScript from receiving touch events properly. Doesn't sound like the thing that we want to do. All right. Allowed to open a context menu by long pressing. So I mean, depending on the platform, they're being handled by the web view. And they wrote this that is basically connect context menu. Yeah, okay. Um I don't think I'm actually gonna like dive into this deeply, but that might be a place to peek. uh I think this is actually doing what we're expecting it to because it's connecting to the web view and the context menu and then basically just like nullifying it. But in debug builds, if inspector, yeah, so some code to like just automatically open it or something. So that would be like the dev tools. Um, and then also the downside of this is GTK. So we're not going to have full cross-platform functionality with this. Because the other bit here too is that if we're disabling the context menu, disable some gestures by freezing their controllers. So like you can turn off some gestures on mobile. And that's probably going to be the hardest bit about this. When you say, I want to turn off the context menu or I want it to feel as native as possible, WebView is doing quite a bit for you. And like in theory, you want to be able to turn that stuff off. But in reality, like I suspect you're going to be doing a lot of this. And this feels brittle as well, which doesn't feel like a great solution either. Option 2, disable the default. I mean, yeah, like you can see, it's sort of been around for a while. Yeah, so that works for Linux implementation. Like that's been around for, and this might be the one that you came across. The yeah, um, this is a little bit nicer. I'm gonna drop this in, and we're gonna roll with this for the minute, and in part because I want to see how it feels. Disable menu. I mean, I don't just go for it. Oh, okay, fine. Disable menu. Whoop, if I can spell. Function. So in part, I want to use this just to see how it feels, um, because I suspect we're going to run into other edge cases that aren't immediately clear. Disabling the context menu and disabling that might be fine, and and part of this is here, like if we're on localhost, dev versus not. So like if we run this here now, that is going to make sure that we still get the context menu. So we'll actually want to turn that off if we want to experience it, what it's going to be like. We're still getting this one though. Um, I'm actually going to just let's look at MDM. Disable auto complete. So it's on the form or on inputs. All right, we're going to take this out. Yeah, we'll take that out. Okay. Um, window host name, select start. Okay, MDN. I don't want autocomplete per se, but what's that like pre-fill menu? That's got to have a specific name, right? Because I already have, and it could very well just be that it's not passing it down. Um, if we look at our to-do list on our text field form, we've got a, so if we say auto complete false, I was expecting type matching on and off. Okay. So this is actually built into form, which we are pulling from React Spectrum. Yeah, that's fine. All right, let's give that a shot. So like in some ways, disabling at least pieces of this in JavaScript might be the way to go. That context menu though, I definitely do tend to agree that it feels better to put it in Rust, especially if you can have it cross, like literally every web view window. I don't want to show it, just don't. Okay, so that makes that autocomplete thing go away. That's good. And did we still have in the, okay, so we turned off that. So we're not getting the context menu because we're running it in, uh, we did that. Okay. So this select start, what is the select start? Let me double check what that is real quick and see if we want to actually turn that off. When a user starts a new selection. Okay. That's probably fine. I think I'm okay with turning it off. So, long story short, I think it would be something that you manually have to hook up. There's not a specific API for it yet. And let's see. Need a way to disable context. Yeah, there's a bunch of these. Accelerator key event ability to disable context menu in this. Okay. So it looks like it's possible, and it looks like it just hasn't been implemented yet. In part because if it's something that's needed, seems currently not possible to customize the context menu and disable it completely. Yeah, and that's the other bit. Copy and paste is really nice at being able to, especially if you're doing forms, like disabling that functionality is kind of rough. Um, yeah, so right now we've got it turned. So if we switch this, I wouldn't be able to select. I can't select anything. If I add, I can't highlight, and I can't right click. Yes. So this context menu disables, or this snippet disables the context menu. This disables selection. That does work, but the downside is then that we lose pieces like now you can't actually like select and copy and paste. So like in some ways you almost want to like selectively replace or otherwise like replace in a way where you're not completely like stripping out all of functionality. And that's probably the bit where like in an app, I think it is reasonable to allow somebody to copy and paste. I think I would love to be able to do that if I was using an app. But if you just turn off the whole context menu, then um, yeah, so like you almost have to like re-implement the bits that you would care about because it's sort of an on and off, and if you turn it off, then you need to re-implement. Okay, is perfect for you if context menu is disabled and selected text have context menu of. Okay. The let's see. I've got so this little check here determines if we're on like dev mode or not. This turns off the context menu and this turns off text selection. So if I disable this, as in re-enable it, that should give me text selection. I still can't right click and copy it though. I can do Control C and Control V, but that, in theory, that's potentially sufficient, but that might not work for everybody. Like depending on your user base, that might you might have people that are very set on like being able to right click. So it is probably going to be something that as folks get into it more, the need or expectation to both uh, disable but then replace that function that's still needed. I suspect that's going to end up what's like it'll end up becoming like a Rust plugin is what it feels like. Is the deep linking plugin work on Tauri V2? I think the deep link plugin is only V2. And I'm presuming when you say deep link, you are in referencing the functionality in. Oh, does it actually work on Windows, Linux, and Mac now? I didn't think it did. Um, okay, then that is pretty sweet. I don't know. I mean, last I checked, I thought it was only Android and iOS. Um, Nicola, deep linking would be if I turn on deep linking, let my operating system know that basically like you set up a thing with your operating system and it informs the operating system that whenever you click a link to this website, you could actually, instead of opening it in the browser, open it in this app. It is in some ways more common to see that on phones because phones are much more app based. So that would be like if somebody sent you a you know, in Discord, you can right click and copy a link to a message. Then you can paste it anywhere. And um, in the app, if you paste it within the app knows that it's a Discord link and it'll do the conversion for you before it actually like sends the text. If you paste that, like if I text somebody a link, so now it's an SMS, it will be like a URL. If I go to click on it, if there's no deep linking, it would try to open that in the website because it's easy URL. Deep linking would be, and I don't know if I would qualify it as an embedded browser, but it's a way to inform the like default functionality for the operating system on how to handle that type of thing. So if you look at let's close this so see what we're doing here. We've got hosts, and there is both a mobile and a desktops schemes. Interesting. We'll have to look at this. I'm actually very interested in this. Last time we looked, it was only mobile. But basically, if somebody clicks on a link of your website, actually just instead open up your app. So it's a way to like, instead of going to the default browser when you see a link, actually just open up in the app, which is mostly the interaction you want to have. In most cases, I think that makes sense. Um, so yeah, I think to come back around to this, Luciano, if you're still here, if this is, and who else was the basic coder? You were asking about it too. If it's something that you're very interested in, I think we should, like reopen the conversation because the last time this was had was prior to mobile handful of years back. And if it's something that folks are interested in and interested in contributing to, I think that would be the way to push it forward. Um, because I think it makes sense as a plugin because especially in V2 because plugin functionality is much more settled is maybe a good way to say it. Uh, you want to disable stuff, but then you also sort of want to replace stuff because like copy and paste and whatnot is also useful. So I think that's where it makes sense as a plugin because you can both turn it off and then turn on things or some sort of replacement that would be nice. In some ways, it's like there is a plugin for native app menus, which we've it was a while ago actually. No, we did it on we played around with it on stream. But basically, if you turn off the window decorations, you still want to have some functionality to like hide or close windows potentially. So, long story short, if turning off the context menu is going to be a big enough thing, this is probably going to end up being a plugin, and that should be the conversation. For non-form text like inputted text area, is it not not is not from context menu but CSS? I think in the web view, pretty much everything input wise is going to be handled with a like HTML input or HTML text area, etc. In which case you can make it look however you want based off of CSS. Okay, thanks for the question. That was I actually appreciated that digression. Not saying that I don't normally, but um, that was literally like the next thing on the list that I wanted to dig into. So having that conversation was immediately helpful for me. um, we're still stuck with this tray icon builder though. The in some ways where we've got like a catch 22. If we remove the existing one, then we run into issues. But if we call new, that seems to be the only way we can define actions in JavaScript. So we have to create the tray icon from JavaScript, but then we also need to handle and register events from Rust. And this also creates one. In this case, it's creating it with that ID. Um, I mean, like I think the only thing we could potentially do to deal with this specific thing would be to um, be able to add actions after the fact. So if we've got an existing one, I think we need a functionality to add an action. Close. So there's sets a new tray menu. And that would be the actual like thing that's popping up. So like we want an actual action on the icon itself. Set menu on left click. What is this? Disable or enable showing the tray menu on left click. Oh, okay. Mac only. Yeah, I think we have to do it through JavaScript, at least with the current setup, because we want to handle that action in JavaScript, which then we're like, the tray icon builder also has its own. So how do we deal with that? Um, Here, if we don't try just to not remove the existing one, what does this end up looking like? I'm guessing it's just going to continue creating new ones. Um, so that icon is the one from Rust, and this icon is the one from JavaScript. They both do work. Probably because they're both named as main. Um, so there's just like they both exist with the same label but with like different IDs. So as far as operating system is concerned, it's separate ones. Um, okay. So we could set all these bits in Rust, and like we could do it all in Rust, and that might have to. In some ways, that might only be that might be the only option if we're going to use this plugin. On tray icon event ID build. And okay, we are still calling build here. What if we don't? What if we just don't build it? I have no idea what's going to happen with this, but so we changed Rust. It should give us a full rebuild. Not like a full Rust non-incremental build, but like the Apple restart. Type annotations needed for tray icon. I'm guessing that's because it's not being built. Is this actually a type must be known at this point? Oh, okay. So we did actually have this. Oh no, we didn't. Okay. Yeah. So this build needs to be called for those types to work out. This is definitely a catch-22. I don't think we're going to be able to do anything with this. We're just going to have at least for the moment we're going to have two icons if we want to try to do as much of this in JavaScript as possible. Um, because this is creating a new one. New. We don't have any other options here, do we? Icon, menu, title, and tooltip. So we're setting the tooltip there. And if we look at that, this is a personal tray app. That doesn't say anything because we don't have a tooltip. So they are like separate icons as far as the operating system is concerned, but our labels are the same. So um, it happens to work out as far as the tray icon event. I'm presuming. Um, so this feels like something we need to deal with in the plugin. Um, Now we are at an hour and a half. Can we? I know I said I was only going to go for an hour. Um, Would we be able to spin that up quickly enough? Because we can do a patch, and this is potentially useful. Because I think that's going to be our only option if we want to actually deal with this. So right now we've got a tray icon builder that is establishing a system tray icon that we can click, and it is passing those events onto the plugin positioner, which assists in moving the window around relative to that tray icon. But the problem is that this is creating an icon as well as our code here, which is also creating an icon, and we set it here because we want to define an action in JavaScript. So we are sort of stuck, and this is where it starts to make sense, I think, to see what we could do, pushing some code upstream to deal with this. Now, I think what we do is we can, especially since this is a plugin, it makes this much easier to where, and part of what's going to get sticky is we're dealing with both JavaScript and Rust. It's much easier if we were just dealing with Rust, because what we can do is we can say, yeah, sure, fine, keep it at that version, and we can say there is a either get or path. Now, I don't know if it has to be in a I don't know if the monorepo will have an issue or not. That's the one bit that I'm a little bit unsure of. So this will go up to Tauri apps plugin workspace. Wow, my goodness. Plugins workspace. Oops, not APIs. And we want to look at plugins workspace. I do a fetchy. That's not the branch that we want to be on though. We're on V2 right now, right? Yep. Local changes. What do we have added for local changes here? Ah, yeah, we did this a while ago. Okay. Looks like more linking that we were actually doing. Get reset hard head. Get cool. Cargo's doing its thing. Unfortunately, we just pulled some new code, so it's gonna have to redo it. That seems like all outdated stuff that I can just discard. Now, we should have the positioner plugin, of which case in the okay, and it is pointing to workspace. So this will be the bit that we're gonna have to figure out. We are pointing to a path, but it's a workspace, and I am not certain how path works when we're pointing to a workspace. So we look at cargo, version path, specifying dependencies. Let's look at their docs here. Overriding. There's a patch section. So you'd use the patch section if you need to override dependencies of other copies. So if you're getting like sub dependencies, this is a good way to like patch things down the line. Um, get, but we can pretty much just point specifically to the path because we have it specified as a dependency. Uh, Dennis. Thanks for stopping by. You said you can load the icon as a resource. Yep. I don't know that the I don't know that's going to help the situation at all. Um, because the problem is it's less with the icon itself, and it's more just with the thing that is being created. So the code that we're calling, both in JavaScript and in Rust, are both creating an icon. And when I say icon, I don't actually mean like picture. Like it's creating the operating system thing that is clickable in your system tray. This one is being done so it can handle all the icon events. Um, this one is being done because I want to define an action for that click in JavaScript, of which we want to rely on the position and the positioner plugin and their enums. So we kind of need both. And we'll see what we can do with that. We might be able to just like add something to the positioner plugin in to handle it in the JavaScript side for us. But we'll have to come to that. What this is going to get us is if we're able to wire this up correctly, we could potentially add like um, an additional alignment piece to this because there's a move window. There's a bunch of calculations. We have the feature turned on for tray icon, which is using the state mechanism and setting some values. And basically here we have a tray left and a tray right and bottom variance, but these are all left aligned. We would prefer a right aligned. So if we get it hooked up with a local version, we would be able to then uh, add that. But that being said, it's still not going to deal with this double icon issue. I mean, all this has is this move window. So this really is not doing much. We might be able to just do it all in Rust. What is the okay? So there's an on tray event and an init. Like in theory, we could just, um, as long as one displays two icons will be displayed. Interesting. So if you define two icons, you could actually have, and if they have transparency, you could be clearly showing like one on top of another. So the is it running anymore? No. Oh, it might actually still be. No, it's not. We're actually getting like two separate things. Like it's not. This is the one being created in JavaScript. This is the one being created in Rust. Is that clearer? It's hard to. I think I know what you're saying, Dennis. That you could actually set an icon twice and it would be showing up in the same space. So like if you have a single square and you've defined an icon at the operating system level, you can then attach a picture to it or an image. And that image, you could have multiple images. Is that what you're saying? I mean, it could, as long, I mean, I could be misunderstanding. And this functionality is maybe what you're saying, in which case is the expectation that we hide this first one. I guess in theory we could do that. That might that might just be enough to deal with it at the moment. Um, so after we build, can we just do like a dot? What do we have? Okay. Set visible. False. What don't we like? Result. Right. This will return result. Yeah. Okay. Come on. Weird. All right. So we've got this path. I haven't actually like saved it yet, so it's still pointing to the real thing. We need double check overriding. And we want to. Yeah, hiding it, we get all the panic still. It's because that trade position that ends up getting weird. I don't. This feels like even if we get some workaround, this feels like something that we would just want to fix. All right. So overriding publishing. Okay. Can we search for workspace? It only looks at the patch settings and the root. Okay. The root supports the following sections. Okay. Let's just try it. Let's see what happens. I'm not going to hold my breath, but I think it's going to. If we point to Tauri apps plugin workspace, let's give it a shot. Failed to get Tauri plugin positioner, a dependency of package. Okay. So now if we look at plugins positioner, what does that say? Failed to load source. Unable to update. Did I spell positioner incorrectly? Let's just make sure I didn't do something silly. Failed to read. Uh, GitHub. Oh, nope. We got to go up one extra level here. Because our SRC Tauri failed to select a version. Version, sure enough. What? We're still on V1. What? Oh, get checkout V2. Ah, there we go. Okay, get pull. There we go. Now, if we run this, that should give us a local copy of it. Tauri plugin positioner, and it's got the file reference. There we go. Okay, so now if we anything we edit in here should then be reflected in our code in our app. And if we look at this, so we're getting the tray position not set. I really need to like add in the drag handler or something there because it's kind of annoying. So we've got a bunch of trays. In reality, we want to do tray. It's like a tray left, right? Because we're using. Let's double check and see what we're using. Setup tray. We want to tray center. Okay. We want to do tray left, but it needs to be like a tray. Tray left. Tray left. Align right. And that would also be configuration macro, tray icon only. Is it going to, yes, we need to add it here. Align right. So now, our enums are going to not quite work on the JavaScript side of things. We look at this, we're gonna have to deal with that. Position 2. So I'm not 100% certain. Because that's gonna be an actual value. So let's go into our node modules. This is gonna be the quickest, I think, because we just need to change the value. Yeah, and see that like the thing is they're numbered because they've got these enums. So if we say and I'm not sure like functionally, let's put it here because we're also going to do the same here. Tray left. So 15, tray left, align right. Okay. Actually, it's probably CJS. It's probably actually in this one. And 15. Okay. So now I think that might be enough that we can say, let's close some of this, setup tray. We are doing position dot tray left align right. Now TypeScript's not going to be happy with this. I suppose we can deal with that as well. close, close, close. We're probably going to do a reload because we edited node modules and it's not going to know to reload those. On type of position, plug in positioner. I think that should work. I'm surprised it's not tray left. Oh, okay. Align right. There you go. All right. Now, if we run this, it should give us the. We should be going down this other code path now. We should be here. We should be able to get into this. And what it is doing is it's finding a y and x. And now our x is a tray x. But in reality, we want to do a tray x plus a is there a tray width? There's a tray height. Tray size, no. Window. We want window size dot width. Okay. So now I don't know if it's going to do the incremental recompile for us when we've changed anything, because that watcher is not watching across the path, I don't believe. So if we rerun it, if we click this, we're not getting nothing. Okay. I guess the other bit too is we need to. We're setting the visibility state here. So let's just have 2 for the moment. And we should be setting the position tray left, align right. It's a result. So I need to put the question mark. So other options, we've got the state, and we're basically like defining tray position, tray size. All right, let's click this. Let's see what happens. Hide. So click is not actually setting it now. So what did we miss here? Tray left, align right. If we're on Windows, we do that. If we're on Mac, we do this. No, physical position. Oh, which one did we? Oh, okay. No, yeah, physical position. We're returning physical position and we're setting the tray X plus the window size width. That feels right. So just to make sure we are print, do a print line. You're gonna be okay with that code? Is can't tell if it's not error checking because it's thinks it's hidden behind a feature flag, but that should give us a print if we're going down the code path I'm thinking we're going down. When we click this, we should get a print. Okay, we're not getting a print. Tray left, align right. Under physical position, we've got a tray left, align right, feature. So we should be, let's actually open up the DevTools. This will be a good test for these. So this should be open anytime we click the, ooh, okay, it's doing things. Click. So this is a plugin event listen. Okay, we're getting a lot of events. Move window. Okay, and this one's getting stuck. Let's just do a reload. And if we click, just mousing over, we get a whole ton of events. Move window. Plugin positioner, move window. Can I? Does it show the value? So we see plugin. It's marked as a plugin. And we see the event coming in, but I'm not really getting any useful information. Like I want to see the trace 3 request. Like I want to see what the actual value is. Okay. Well, I'm not seeing the value. Let's go into we're in plugins workspace. Let's go into our node modules here and make sure that we are looking at and hitting the appropriate code. So we have a new enum, tray left, line right. And we're invoking, so if we do a console.log, so now, if we restart, we should be able to see this log out the appropriate enum. So I'd expect it to be number 15. And I don't, we put it at the end. So I would think that that should line up fine. We are doing match position. Physical position comes in as a oh no, never sorry. We are setting physical position, and it is then setting that. Okay. So after we've calculated, then we do that. We're matching on position, which is coming in here as an enum. We have it at the end there. I don't think these actually need to be in order, do they? Tray, bottom, center. I don't think this match needs to be in order. Okay, let's. Oh, we got the context menu is turned off. Let's go turn that back on. Okay, open. Now, if I click in here Invalid args position. Command move window missing required key position. Okay, so we're getting an undefined. Um, so this position position. So now anytime we click this, we should be getting position. Okay. And we've got 0 to 14, no 15. Interesting. Plugin positioner, dist.js. That is very interesting. So we appear to be going down this one. And it is defining position here. Tray left, align right. We don't have a tray left, align right at all. And we're getting the 2. So when we click, wait, maybe we're not. No, position, okay. Tray left, line right. So we're not getting this. So is it going down CGS? It's not quite clear like what the thing that is bundling is actually being bundled as. That's not going to update. Like we'll poke on this a little bit more. If we can get it positioning correctly, that's probably where we're gonna call it. Okay, click. So we're getting position logged out. We have do we have an extra npm at Tauri apps plugin positioner. Okay. We're not getting either of these logged out, which is confusing. Let's kill our dist directory. It might be doing some caching. We might be doing some caching. Okay, so I don't have any logs in either of them right now. Let's try running it again. Yeah, there's also a vteps positioner. Yeah. So it's doing some caching in here. I just need it somewhere right now. Tray left, align right, and 15. Okay. Now, if we inspect and click, we don't see 15. All right, let's do a restart. click. We still don't have 15. What in the heck? Okay. View global types. All right, so we should have a tray left, align right, tray left, align right, both 15, both 15. All right, let's run that again. I've removed the .vt folder. So, like the other option would be to link, which in the past hasn't been great. There we go. Okay. All right, so we're getting tray position not set. Are we getting a? All right, we're just straight up getting that panic. So why is the tray position not set? It is loaded. That's the other bit that I would kind of like to deal with. All right, so we are self state lock wrap. We are in here on events. We are looking for click, enter, leave, and move, and then we're defining the rect. So in the actual click of that icon, then we're setting those values. So in replace. So in this code, we have defined the entree event and then wired up the code required to set that initial state. And this all seems, we're not doing anything too different from what it was before. If we do the tray icon builder, new, instead of doing the main version. Problem is like this is going to be listening for events on the other stuff, which is not either what we really want either. But plug in Windows state. Nope, that's not what we want. Positioner. Okay, I thought that's what I have. Not quite sure why that's suddenly doing the red squiggly. It seemed it was working before. Okay. I just want to get around the app state issue right now. If we can get it to do the print line and go down our new code path. Well, that's interesting. If we click, we see, okay, invalid args position. Move window missing required key position. Oh. It's in that one. It's in that one. It's in this one. Tray left, align right. but it doesn't exist anymore. What's caching this? If this builds like the build setup in the JavaScript ecosystem was better. Mm-hmm. Okay, top left, it doesn't go to 15. What? When is it loading? Positioner. This has got a 15. Tray left, line right. What file is this loading? Tauri apps, positioner, 15. 15. It must be using some. What the heck? Is there some new cache or something that I am not aware about with Vite? Could very well be. Click. Yeah, it's definitely not set anymore. But everywhere that I think it would be set is not there. Or everywhere that I think I should be setting it or could be setting it is it's already set. Okay, let's do a bat package JSON. Fortunately, we're gonna probably have to just call it pretty soon. But let's do a quick build. Yeah. Okay. Fine. I was hoping that that might poke something. What the heck? Okay. All right. What I'm gonna actually just do is in the code here, instead of saying position tray left line, I have no idea where this thing is actually importing from. I'm gonna do this. It should be 15. It should be sending 15. As long as my Rust is matching up with and expecting that, we should be good to go. So now if I click this, there we go. We're getting 3544, which is the pixels. So we're actually printing out from tray left to line right. We are printing out here. We got this print line. So that should be setting a value. And we could probably do this. Tray X. And then I guess let's combine them. Save us the head math. Okay, and then if we go into, let's go into here and I hit save, we should kick off a rebuild. So we have basically kept everything the same. The Y is all the same. The only thing we're adjusting is the X. So we are setting the tray X. We might actually need to be minusing. That's probably the bit that I'm missing. Well, I think you just click it now. So 3144 plus 400. So it's actually probably moving off of the window. Oh, this one doesn't show up very often. I think tray is always going to be on the right side. So that might be safe. Not on my desk. He is not too much of a cuddler, so we will see him for about 5 seconds. He's gonna leave. Maybe. Kitty distractions. Who needs a rubber duck when you got a cat? He agrees. Okay, so this should kick off a rebuild. Now we'll get some updated logs here. It actually should be minus here now. I can probably just do that real quick to make it clear. And now when we click, there we go. Tray X. That actually feels really good. I like that. Okay. So I think that's what we end up doing. I think we basically end up doing a tray left, align right. And we could leave that as a patch on like a separate branch or something if we want. Or we can work on pushing this upstream. But that's probably gonna be a next time thing. Let's just jump through it one more time just to give that good old summary. We pull down the Tauri plugin positioner repo, which is in the plugins workspace in Tauri. It's a Rust and JavaScript workspace, and we've directly in our cargo linked to that, in which case we can edit it. And the edit that we've done is we have added an additional match arg, an additional enum, and matching piece, and an additional piece in the match arm. And this allows us to, when we click the icon, it positions it to the right instead of left align in the app window. So we have it all working locally, and now it's in a place where we can push it upstream, and we have some confidence that it really works. So I think the only other bit is and I might poke some other folks in the working group, see if we have any other ideas. But this catch-22, I can't think of a good way around it right now, because right now we're listening for that tray event, so we need a hook to that tray, and if it doesn't exist, like we basically need to like wait. I mean, maybe we move it out of the setup code or something. I'm thinking we're gonna need to like grab a handle to it though or something. Or other, I mean, we're not processing any events in any other way on the front end, so we have to, I think, do it in the Rust side of things. Um, and maybe in the net we can maybe do something with it where we try to grab a handle to it and plug in setup, yeah, plug in build. I mean that's initialization scripts. Yeah, I'll ask around. I feel like we want to do something. Like in my mind, it feels like it makes sense to do something like this because this catch-22 is frustrating, and this positioner plugin would be really nice if we can do this tray left right align. It looks much nicer in my opinion, and that should work on both Mac and Windows. It'll just be up or down. So I think that's where we're gonna call it. Got things to do. I would say reasonably successful. I do want to start getting into local first type stuff. Cat. Also, This is the other one that normally doesn't stop by. He's needy right now. Hi. Here. Watch. See if we can do it. High five. Good boy. Nice. I have it on camera. um. So the I'll distract it now. Yeah, I want to start getting into more of the local first stuff, and I think we're now that a lot of this is settling, we can start to work some of this upstream, and that may or may not make sense to do on stream. Um, but I do want to start getting into. We played around with SQLite, and I potentially want to maybe not SQLite, but in that vein. We'll see. Not this week though. Next week. Um, so have a great rest of your week. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. Thanks for the good questions and the fun discussion. If you have any follow up questions or anything, feel free to leave it in the comments. Hit those buttons. Like, appreciate the likes. That gives me some indication on the type of content that folks are interested in. And I will see you next week. Have a great rest of your week, everybody. Bye.